Alright, we're good to go. Hello everyone! Welcome to round 3 of Challenger League. We've got the German Seepri at Machtangart today, and we've got the sprint quali immediately underway. So we've got 4 straight wins for Kubo is the main talking point. We're going to see if he can continue that run of form today, though he was challenged quite hard last time out in Alton Park. We can also see if we can have some surprises in this sprint quali. We have a long, quite difficult lap, especially in the wet too, so we'll see if any surprises can be had. Difference between the drivers a bit large at the moment, but we have Razim for the Nordic Blizzards on pole position, Kubo alongside Kraft in P3 and Kata in P4. Then the third row of the grid is Isto and Game Mongoose. Got a VPT 7th and 8th with Charge JT over Matimar. Then we've got Andrews and Kalitka P9 and P10. Kato in P11, followed by Mr. Crunk, Gwetsley, Kiato, Dr. Known, Juan, Tomatoes, and Urist rounding the grid at the back for the sprint race. Yeah, always an issue with the one-shot quali, you know, if you make one large mistake, it can be over, and especially for the long track, it wasn't, the gap between first and last wasn't too large, but they're obviously, some of the guys at the top there getting quite solid laps in the wet. Maybe not as warmed up as they could be on the in the wet conditions though. Oh, for sure. Alrighty. 5 red lights and we are underway. Razim gets out well. Going to that first corner can always be a bit of trouble as we head into that first little snaily section. We've got Kalitka off. We've got Kiato and Dr. Known out wide as the leaders head into the hairpin now. Kata slowing everyone down in there. Oh my god. Oh, big incident there between Charge JT and Isto. We sort of missed that, but they are sitting at the back now. Isto has made another big error challenging Juan, and he's at the very back now. But yeah, it is Kubo leading with Razim and Kraft behind. Forming a bit of a train between those three with Matimar in 4th, a fair ways off at the moment. Yeah, it's really difficult, especially once you lose that slipstream, as the tyres will start to wear. Razim and Kubo challenging each other again into the hairpin. Razim taking the inside, but he's going to have a worse exit. Kubo gets the better of him there. Oh, for sure. Speaking of, a little further down the grid, Matimar and Kata fighting out for P4. It'd be a good result for both drivers, especially Kata, who had if I remember correctly, not the greatest race, but he goes wide at the exit of the snailing section. The end of turn 1 causes a big Constantino effect. Andrews being fallen off, and now there's a huge pack fighting for 5th. Matimar's going to be able to get away But now Kato is fighting with his teammates, fighting with Kato now. But he's still holding on to P5. Wetzley also in the mix there. Oh, but that... Oh yeah, and the gap's already extended to almost 2 seconds now between Kubo and the group of Kraf and Razim. Still big battling for P5. Kato has gotten into that position now. Wetzley P7. Game Mongoose holding on to P8 now, but he's getting challenged by Urist. He's fighting for that last point that'll be on off of today. Right behind them. Oh, for sure. Then right behind them, we've got Isto making that recovery from a poor lap 1. Kalitkin and Mart Andrews all fighting for P10 at the moment. Charge JT right behind them. Then we've got Kiato, Dr. Known, Mr. Crunk, Tomatoes, and Juan rounding out the grid at the moment. He's almost 2 sectors behind the leader at the moment as Kubo finishes lap 6 with a personal best and the fastest lap of the race. It's very hard to get like that one extra opening, but it seems like Matimar has made that difference. He's still in P4, he's still sitting pretty at the moment, but Wetzley is charging at him actually. He's gained a lot over the past sector and a half. Speaking of gaining, I think Razim is slowly catching up to Kraft, but not at too big of a pace. Can't get an accurate read of that. Maybe. Yeah, it was an extra 2 tenths faster than Kraft that previous lap, and Kraft is actually breaking away from Razim now as we head into the fight for P4, and we've got Kato actually making the move over Matimar into P4. They're both entering the hairpin. Kato coming in slowly. Matimar taking the inside. Tries to make it stick, but he's only going to get the slipstream for now. Very tight battle here. Oh, he did, yeah. Maybe a bit of slipstream helped out there. They're still fighting. Wetzley now in the mix now too. Both Matimar and Kato slowed up. And he's now fighting in that position as well. It's very neck and neck. They're all trying to take different lines into these corners and trying to see which one goes on. Matimar goes wide right before the hairpin. Still in the fight though, but Kato's got a little bit of space now. Kato in his a little bit of his own race at the moment, trying to catch up to those behind in P7 as I see Kronk has gone into the pits. Always. A little bit. We'll see if Isto can get some extra pace because, of course, you don't get points for 9th in this race. Got Charge JT in T10 going wide there, giving a chance for Game Mongoose to put a bit of pressure on him. Followed by Kalitka, Kato, Dr. Known, Tomatoes, Mart, Andreas a long way back. Then we've got Kronk and Juan as Kubo is almost halfway through the. He's done with the first sector now on the last lap. Dominant once again. Kraft taking P2 and Razim slowing up on the finish line to finish P3. Kato will end up taking P4. Wetzley will edge out Matimar for P5. and Kata P7, and Urist barely takes that final points paying position in P8 just over Isto. Only barely caught the finish there. Got Charge JT, Game Mongoose, Kiato Kalitka, Dr. Known Tomatoes, Mutt Andrews in 16th, and then we've got Mr. Crunk and one rounding out the grid. And yeah, that'll be Kato as well, taking the fastest lap of the race. Very... yeah. He got that breakaway. He got that one breakaway he needed, and that was it. Yeah. Good thing to note is that we have 7 teams getting points in the sprint. Only Bobcat, not Bobcat, only Riker Auto were able to double up with the 1 and 5th. That is true. Yeah, he's really made that next step towards challenging for the title here. You'll have to see. Yeah, solid deserved point for Bobcat Racing there. It's very tight between that group for P12 there, only finishing about 7/10 between the 3 drivers there. Kalitka squeeze in the middle. Uh, 31 laps. It can be definitely possible to, yeah, do a 2-stopper with the hards, but it's just a case of, do you have the pace to do that? Because, you know, especially when the tires get a bit worn, like, it starts to really show itself that the hards, when they get to, like, lap 10, lap 11, lap 12, so it, really gets struggling. Whereas if you do a 3-stop, perhaps using the mediums, perhaps maybe starting with the softs too, that could be something interesting. Oh yeah, it's always the big question when you're going for those undercuts is, can you get through the traffic to make it worth it? Which, we'll see. Kubo has, well, he's shown in both feature races, previously that he's been able to just completely, overrun, the early stage of the race and just get a complete pit stop lead over the mid-pack, so... let's see if he can replicate that as we head into the qualifying for the sprint race. Feature race, sorry. And this is the one that more of the drivers will be practicing. It is dry quali. Yeah, especially because he hasn't gotten a pole since round 1. So it's just been the case of, like, starting at close to the front and just asserting your dominance from there. Oh, that's a good challenge for the pole right there. We've got Isto with the current lead with a 31.32. Solid time. Gonna be a good time, I think, even in Ultimate League later tonight. Charge JT in P3. Yeah, and naturally I'd say his strength is in quali as well, so good to see him up there. Alright, a little bit of improvement from Guetzli up to 11th, but it's still Isto, Kubo, and then Charge JT in P3 with that solid time as well. Urist, Kraft, Kato, Tomatoes, Kalitka, Kata, and Matimar make the top 10 at the moment. Oh, he is for sure. No one's going to be... No, if Guetzli goes up to P3, Razim pulls out the pole with a 200th gap. And it's a Nordic Blizzard 1-2 in qualifying. Big, very tight for the top at the end. I mean, Guetzli in P5 was only a 10th and a half off pole too, so it's much closer in the dry than the wet, for sure. Had to leave it all on the last lap, and he pulled it off. And Guetzli as well. He was definitely on the back half of the grid before that final lap, but as we head onto the grid, we've got some tyre strategy to go over. 5 lights are out, and here we go. Charge JT actually starting in 5th, so we had Guetzli in 4th there. Isto going very slow into corner 2. Eurus getting past Guetzli, bad start for him. Oh my god. Big lag interruptions as we head into the hairpin for the first time. Looks like everyone's gotten past just fine. Razim on the softs, Kubo starting on the hards now. As gonna see those strategies play out. We've got the Nordic Blizzards splitting the strategy, but we have both Riker autos on the hards as we finish lap 1. Eurus getting himself up to P5, just trailing Guetzli now. Charge JT in 6th, and Dr. Known in P7, Kato, Kraft, and Kiato taking P10 after starting at the very back of the grid, I believe. He's gapping him a bit. Yeah, really big that he's able to get that gap done as quick as possible. He was 4/10 faster in that second lap there. And it's also going to be imperative for Kata to make any inroads quickly and try to make an undercut work in due time. But yeah, everyone else on the hard tyres. Oh, big mistake from Kato. He goes onto the inside. He shoves Eurus off. Kato gets through him. So does Kraft. And Kato is moved up to P6. Kato and Kraft still fighting it out for P7. It's still tight now. Kato trying to break away from the two. Got Eurus fighting Dr. Known in P9. We've got Alright, personal best coming in now. Oh, Kato goes wide. Oh, he's sitting right on his back, yeah. Ooh, Razim immediately into the pits, wow. Going for a really early undercut, and he's left Kubo to run on his own. Razim goes onto the hard tyres and he comes out in P7. So right in the middle of that fight with Kyato, Kraft and Kato. And this is going to really trouble his race if he can't get past them quickly. Oh, there he goes, yeah. He does have the benefit of much softer tyres, and he might have the opportunity to run to the soft tyres for the end of the race here. I'm thinking he's going, like, this set, and then another set of hards, and then softs to the end, perhaps? Mr. Crunk is in. Kata is also in from his soft tyres. And he's onto another set of softs, but he's at the very back of the grid. Crunk as well, coming onto the soft tyres. As Kubo finishes lap 7. Yeah. There he goes, P5, and he's got a lot of free air to start running to himself, and maybe some of the guys behind him can take a slip though. Kraft and Kyato still fighting for that P6. Kyato goes wide, bumps into his teammate. Bit of trouble there for Urist. As he makes the move on the inside, but it comes the outside in the final corner. They're side by side, the Bobcats, as they head into turn 1 again. And it looks like Urist is 1 out. $32.60. So Razim's last lap only 4/10 faster than Kubo. And he would be, I believe he would be in front of him if Kubo pits. So the undercut that seemed to have worked out is he just trails in Charge JT slipstream now. So that's his next target. Oh, and speaking of that, Kubo goes into the pits. Isto into the pits. Judge JT goes wide. Razim, actually Kubo gets past him. The overcut works out. Razim is behind Kubo now. Got a bit more pit stops down the lane. Isto coming in, and he's in the middle of this big battle. Alright, a little bit of a flag strike. Ooh, very late braking there. Might have hurt his opponents there in a way. Urist going into the inside. They're not going to be good for the Bobcats either way. Kato still holding on to P5. Isto trying to make a move around the outside. Goes a bit too wide as Kato heads into the pit, and so does Kraft and Urist. We're seeing a lot of similar pit times for these guys. They're all entering lap 12, so I'm assuming it's only going to be 2 sets of 10 lap hards for most of the grid at the moment. Kato pulling up to P8 now on that undercut on the soft tyres, but he's got a lot of work to do still. His tyres are significantly worn at this point. Charge JT, still only, still P3, but hasn't pit yet. He will go in now. Oh, Kyato making an error into the pits. Gonna lose some time there. Let's go back into the... He's... The last Now the difference in the overcut for Kubo, his last lap, a full second faster than Razim. Like, that's the real difference here, and Razim is, has to make an extra pit stop on top of that, you know? It's just, yeah, it's just looking like smooth sailing for Kubo at the moment. No issues on his part. And that lap again, a 1 second .3 difference between the two leaders at the moment. Just in a class of his own at the moment, Kubo. But we have a battle for P3 at the moment. We've got Gwetsley and Isto. Both behaving into the hairpin. Gwetsley still in front. Yeah. And maybe we could see Gwetsley try and make the same move that Kubo did earlier, because his tyres are fresher than Isto. So Isto will probably have to try and attempt an undercut here. Speaking of undercuts, Razim is in. Razim just went into the pits earlier, so he's come out in P4 on very fresh, hard tyres. So we're going to see if he can return back to P2. Maybe make a bit of inroads into Kubo's lead. Charge JT, he was the latest of the front runners to make that first stop, and he's still sitting in P5. Still having decent pace at the moment. Kato in P6, running his own race at the moment. Bit of a gap between both everyone in front and behind him, but we've got Urist and Kraft fighting for P7 now, right behind that. Maybe they both see Kato as the bigger threat. Gonna see if Urist can perhaps outpace him and perhaps catch him. Though they are on a very... I think they both pit at the same time, that group. Urist's last lap is 900th slower, actually. Ooh, got a move. Dr. Known. On Game Mongoose. He's gotten... I think he's gotten past, but Game Mongoose is trying to challenge around the outside. Dr. Known goes really wide, not really wide, really deep into the hairpin, and Game Mongoose has the position now. And now it's Kyoto right behind Dr. Known trying to fight for that P10, bit of a slow up there. Game Mongoose going on the outside, still trying to avoid any contact. Kyoto trying to make a move going, he doesn't want to finish P11, he wants points. And I think he's gotten the move done on Dr. Known there. And just the same as Charge JT, Kyoto actually went really late on his pit stop, so he does have the fresher tyres out of this group. Oh yeah, definitely. You think he could potentially he's really hoping to like slipstream for maybe 2 laps and get onto the hards for the rest of the race. Though he's going to have a raw pace battle with Gwetsley in terms of doing that, as we have Kubo going to the pits for he's going to go for an 11 lap stint on the hards to finish this race. Ooh, big mistake from Gwetsley. Razim challenging. They both go super slow into the hairpin. This might give Isto a chance to make some inroads. Yeah, Gwetsley's really slowing Razim up, and he heads into the pits now. And Isto follows him in there. Yeah, he still has to pit, but he'll definitely be on the soft compound tyres in about 4 laps time, comparatively. That being said though, Charge JT also running the hards a bit longer. Perhaps he might go on the mediums. Potentially, we'll see. Everyone's making their second stops. Oh, we've got a big slow up there in the back of the field. On mid-pack, sorry. All of a sudden, Urist is in P11. So Kato's gone past him. Game Mongoose gone past him, though they are on super old tyres. Urist is gonna get past them without too much issue, it seems, and Kiato is gonna try and slipstream his teammate as Goose and Dr. Known head into the pit lane. Right. Interesting as well is that there's a bit of a fight of their own in the backfield as well, at the back of the field, and one going for a 3-stop. Kalitka just got on the hard tyres. Andrew's also just gone onto the hards. Tomatoes, fresh hards. Kronk is going to have to make another stop in the back of the field. But yeah, it's once again complete smooth sailing for Kubo. I think he could make another stop and be completely fine, and probably try and snag fastest lap even. Like the gap between him and Gwetzley, which is like his nearest rival at the moment, because Razim is just pulling into the pits now. Just 10 seconds at the moment. As Razim goes into the soft tyres to try and make that run back to P2. And actually did call that. Charge JT actually ran his hards really long so he could get onto the mediums for the end of the race. Gonna see what he can do there. Yeah, could be a 4-way fight. Alright, Kato still in P6. And Kraft and Eurus both on the hard tyres. Oh, he did pit again. He wants those points, man. He wants this championship over and done with as fast as possible. Yeah. Yeah, pure confidence. Maybe some extra practice for maybe an opening stint in the UL race. Oh, Black Storm. Oh no. Oh, this is very bad actually. Oh, is it coming back? We're coming back. We're back. Alright, it's a bit glitchy, but we're back. Okay, okay, we're good. Okay, just, Juan is out. Juan is out once again. Oh, that's a shame. Happened, if I believe, in the first round of the season in Malaysia as well. Yeah, as returning that to lap 28, Kubo, 5.5 seconds above Gwetzley. Razim in P3, having Isto run, gone aside for him. As he runs on those hards, and Charge JT is actually making a run at P4 now. He's catching Isto quite handily at the moment. As Razim ooh. Yeah. Well, it was a worthy attempt, I suppose. Razim still behind Gwetzley now. He's going to try and bide his time to make this move, as the hards are going to struggle compared to the softs now. Razim pulls alongside, gets the inside into that penultimate run of corners, and he's gotten the move done. Gwetzley's going to try and do his best to challenge that. Going really tight into the snaily first sector. Turns in, still tight. I think he's going to break away, but Gwetzley holding onto that slipstream to his damn life as Kubo has started the final lap of the race. Dang. It comes so fast. Look like Isto might have the gap over Charge JT to make any effort for fourth a moot point. Kato in P5, Kraft, Urist, Kata and Kiato. Gwetzley's back into P2, let's fight this out. Razim's tyres are starting to struggle, but yeah, it's going to be Kubo. He's slowing up, he is BMing on the track. He's won the feature race at Machtangart. Oh my god, I've turned off right in this wrong time, but Razim barely takes P2 over Gwetzley. Isto P4, Charge JT P5, then got Kato P6, Craft P7, Urist P8. Kato is going to pull in for P9 on those medium tyres, going the alternate strategy. And Dr. Known is actually going to be able to pull off P10 just ahead of Kyoto. Kyoto going really hard on the soft tyres at the end. Game Mongoose P12, Kalitka P13. Then we've got Mart, Andrews, and Tomatoes, both Kit Kat drivers, 14th and 15th, sorry. Bit of a mistake on the timing there. Yeah. It does not. What a race. Yeah, it's just really comfy. Really. It's only a matter of time, really. Alrighty. Alrighty. Then, Kubo, dominant in P1 from the very outset, takes almost, no, not maximum points, but he takes the race win. Razim, P2, fastest lap. Did go for the alternate strategy, it wasn't the play. Then Gwetsley rounding out the podium, P3, P1 and P3 for the Riker Autos, P4 and P2 for the Nordic Blizzards with Iso and P4. Charge JT with a, I think it's the best finish, P5. Strong race for him. Kato P6, Craft P7, then we've got Urist, Kata, and Dr. Known rounding out the points finishes today. Kyoto P11 just barely out of touch. Game Mongoose, Kalitka, I believe Matt Andrews actually finished in front of Tomatoes, so that's a bit of a timing error. So Mart Andrews 14th, Tomatoes 15th, Crunk 16th, and one are only DNF for today. Well, that was exciting. And only round 3. We're going to come back next week for more sport. That's going to be all sorts of fun. We love the short tracks. We love to see the drama those provide. But that'll be for next week. For now, we are finished. See you next time.